So driving through number 8 now, you're basically looking at a company. As a potential buyer, you know that the firm is worth somewhere between $1 million and $7 million to the seller. You don't know the actual value, the seller does. You know if you buy that company, it's worth more to you than it is to the seller because you're a better manager. So the value to you is going to be 1.5 times the value to the seller. And the last piece is if you make an offer that exceeds the seller's value of its firm, then they'll accept your offer. Otherwise, they reject the offer and nothing happens. So pretty straightforward setup. The first part of the question asks, what happens if you offer $4 million? So at this point, probably worthwhile to draw out a little picture of what's going on here. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's our little line. And we know before anything happens, your expectation of the value of the firm is that it's uniformly distributed from 1 to 7. So before you do anything, your expected value is going to be the midpoint of that distribution, or 4 million. Which is probably why Larry was clever enough to think of using 4 million as the initial offer. So if you put in that offer of 4 million, there are two possible regions where the value is. This region is V seller is greater than offer. And the lower region is where you have the seller is less than offer. So now we can figure out what happens. If you're offering $4 million, there's a 50% chance that the offer you're making is less than the value and a 50% chance that it's more than the value. So your expected, let's call it payoff, is going to be 1/2 of the time you're going to offer a price that exceeds the seller's value. And in that case, your payoff will be the seller times 1.5, because that's the value of the firm to you, and that corresponds with the that turquoisey section there. The other half the time, you'll make an offer, and your offer will be too low for the seller to accept. So you'll get 0 payoff in that case, right? Because they just don't accept your offer. There's no cost to you. There's no value transfer. That's what corresponds to the pink region. So for now, we can just leave that pink region alone, and let's figure out what our expectation is of the value to the seller if they accept it. What's nice is you can redraw that graph. So we're going from 0 out to, we don't have to go that far. This will be 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. We know if you offer 4, the lower bound for value of the firm is still going to be 1. Nothing's changed there. But you do know if they accept that offer of 4 million, their value is somewhere between that 1 and that 4. Right? Because they wouldn't have accepted it if it was greater than 4. So if you make an offer of 4 and the seller accepts that offer, basically now you've got a uniform, it's distributed uniform, and it's going from 1 to 4. And the midpoint of that is 2.5. So your expectation, if you offer 4 and they accept it, is that the firm is worth 2.5 to the seller. So now your expected payoff given seller accepts a $4 million offer is going to be, the first term we had was value to the seller. That's the 2.5. And the second component was you're a better manager. So that's 1.5 times it. So the value to you of what you're going to get is 3.75. So the last little step is sort of converting it from payoffs to expected profit. So expected profit is going to be 1/2 of the time you are going to spend $4 million making an offer of $4 million. The seller will accept it, and you will get something that is worth $3.75 million to you. And again, that's the part that's corresponding to that weirdish turquoisey area. The other half of the time, you'll offer $4 million and the seller won't accept it, so you'll get nothing. It doesn't cost you anything. You didn't buy anything, so there's no out-of-pocket expense. You don't get anything for it, so the net worth is 0. So the expected profit of bidding $4 million is just going to be 1/2 of that 250, which is equal to your expectation is that you will lose $125,000 by offering $4 million. So the next step is to figure out what offer actually would make sense. So what we're really going to do is just go through the exact same exercise, but instead of calling it an offer of $4 million, we'll just change that into the word B for the bid that you make. If they accept that bid, the distribution will be from 1 to B, and the distribution will be 1B, right? So everything else is exactly the same, though. So what we're trying to do is figure out that expected profit is equal to 0 would be your break even. And that's going to equal, the percentiles will change. It's no longer going to be 50/50, but there'll be some weight on 0. And the other piece, we also want to equal 0, so we can kind of ignore that 1/2 weighting or whatever that weighting is. We can just go straight to the inside. And the inside will be you pay B if they accept your offer. And then the value of what you're getting is going to be B plus 1/2. That's going to be the midpoint of that uniform distribution from 1 to B. And when you buy it, it goes up in value by 1.5 because you're a better manager. So just rearranging terms, because we're using 0 equals, it will be B is equal to B plus 1/2 by 2. And since everything is going into fractional form, times 3 by 2. And now we just have some annoying algebra in front of us. And since everybody loves boring algebra, let's grind through it. Multiply both sides by 2 by 3, so we get 2 by 3, or 2b by 3 is equal to b plus 1 by 2. Multiply both sides by 6. That'll leave me with 4b is equal to, and on this side, 3b plus 3. Scoot the 3b to the other side, and we have b equals 3. So if you bid 3, expected profit equals 0. And pretty clearly, if you bid less than 3, expected profit will be strictly greater than 0. So any bid less than 3 million will leave you in good shape. So that's it for that problem.